Good afternoon, Ability. We're going to discuss today a brain-body diagram, and this is the best way to visualize, without a rubber band on your finger, the connectivity in the body and what happens when you distort it with interference. A lot of chiropractors use this to describe in the most simple terms to patients what chiropractic is. So I think, of course, it's important for us to understand this as well. Dr. Shelby and I worked on this with training last week, but of course, your brain communicates to your body via your spinal cord and your nerve system, right? And those communications go back and forth. We've discussed multiple times. And when you have that, we say that your body is functioning really well. And of course, when you function well, your body is at ease. And of course, if you are at ease, you are what we call asymptomatic. Now, what happens when we have that interference and we have that rubber band and that disruption in the flow of energy within our body? Analogous to what we call a subluxation, right? And when we have subluxation, we distort that brain-body, that body-brain connection. Do you think we're going to function at 100%? Absolutely not. So we begin to malfunction. If we're malfunctioning, there's no way our body is working harmoniously with each other. So we say that we are in dis-ease. And of course, if you are in dis-ease, most of the time and over time, you become symptomatic, right? Now, just remember the last thing to show up are typically the symptoms. And we start to adjust you as a patient. Since the symptoms are typically the last thing to show up, in reverse order, they're one of the first things to disappear. But we prompt you to interact with your patients today, and when you put on and remove those rubber bands, does that mean that the dis-ease process is handled once you remove the symptoms? Absolutely not. So we have to continue working backwards. We have to stop the snowball from rolling down the hill before we begin to roll it back up the hill. And it all comes back to removing that huge health disruptor called subluxation and called postural issues and spinal issues. So when will you know that you are well? You'll know that when you get adjusted on a regular basis, and you'll know that when we remove the interference that's robbing your brain and body of the ability to connect, communicate, and heal yourself. So in your frames today are a brain-body diagram. Please utilize that with your rubber bands and continue to allow patients to understand what chiropractic is in its most basic form and continue to change lives.